And it's a new week. Here's what's coming up in the marketplace in 30 minutes on the program. International Monetary Fund classifies Ghana as a low-income developing country and in its April 2021 fiscal monitor. But what happens to its low middle income status? We'll engage an economist on this development. Also, demand for labor hit 3,000 ending February this year, slightly higher than pre-pandemic levels. But is this a sign of economic rebound impacting positively on businesses? We find out. Plus, consumption of petroleum gas, that's liquefied petroleum gas, falls from 35,000 metric tons from November last year to 26,000 metric tons presently. A worry to the country's target of achieving 50% LPG penetration in the next 5 years. We shall peruse the import of this particular development. We have all these coming up in this edition of The Marketplace. To stay. And welcome back. The International Monetary Fund has classified Ghana as a low-income developing country in its April 2021 fiscal monitor. Now, 13 African countries were, however, ranked as emerging and middle-income economies. Charles Nixon Yeboah has been looking at the classifications and has filed this report.
According to the fund's latest fiscal monitor, the country is no more recognized as a middle-income economy, despite achieving that status in 2009. However, countries such as Angola, Gabon, Swaziland, and Namibia, which Ghana is said to be doing better than, are classified as emerging and middle-income economies by the Bretton Woods institution. It appears the COVID-19 pandemic had been unfavorable to the country, impacting negatively on her finances. Ghana's positioning may be due to the poor state of its fiscal economy, which requires tougher measures going forward in order to bounce back to a better state. The budget deficit to gross domestic product of 11.7% is a major worry. Additionally, the rising debt, which the nation will spend about 46% of its revenue to pay investors this year, is also a headache to managers of the Ghanaian economy. For now, all eyes will be on the managers of the economy on how to reposition and get the country back to its former levels.
And joining us via Zoom with some analysis is economist and finance lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Lord MENSAH. Doctor, we're so grateful that you joined us. What do you make of this IMF classification as per its 2020 fiscal monitor?
Yeah, well, if you look at the indicators of this fiscal monitor, it clearly tells you that how did the countries, prepared for the COVID, and how did they, defended themselves with the COVID, and then going forward after the COVID, how prepared are they in terms of expansion and all those. So effectively, you will understand that yes, Ghana battled this COVID with a huge expenditure, which called for about 11-point-something% of our budget deficit, and then also with our rising debt. It tells you that in future, if we should come out of this COVID, economic expansion will be a bit slow. That gives you the signal that we did not have enough buffer when this COVID, came in. So it has derailed our, expenditure, and in the end, we're spending more than anticipated because of this COVID. And I can tell you that our revenue projections too are not that much encouraging, and that is why possibly we slipped off, that pecking order. And I believe the countries that found themselves in the ranking above us are the ones that have the potential to absorb that the COVID, and then in the end, going forward, if it comes to expansion, the countries will have somehow, some way, enough buffer to expand. And then even if you don't have the buffer, what is your ability to raise funds? From the global market. As we speak now, Ghana's debt level seems to be high. And so going forward, if we should exit this COVID, our ability to raise money will still be tough. And that is why possibly it has slipped us into that low ranks as we get from this fiscal monitor. So I'm not surprised to see our ranking at all.
But then, does this lead to a dangerous trend in terms of the risks involved from the point of view of investors, the investor community, from the point of view of our macroeconomic standing? What lies the direction then?
Yeah, for me, I think we should, tone down. We should be a bit conserved when it comes to our expenditure. We should prioritize our expenditure, and for us to, look good in the eyes of the international community. We talked about a budget deficit of about 11 point something percent in terms of numbers. We're looking at around 41 point something billion Ghana cedis deficit. Who is calling for this deficit? We want to grow, as an economy. And if we should take our growth in a slow pace form, I don't think we'll be opening our eyes for that huge deficit, which, we don't have the financing mechanisms to support it. So it's a matter of cutting your coat according to your side, going forward.
Finally, before I let you go, already we've heard from government this projection of a 5% growth in the macroeconomic indicators, even though the IMF and even the World Bank are also prospecting some positive growth for developing countries in the wake of COVID-19 inoculation programs around the world. How could this, if it remains steady for the next 5 or 10 years, how could it impact our standing?
Yeah, for economic growth, you need to have prospect, your ability to raise funds, your ability to attract, foreign direct investment, your ability to export more. These are the things we're supposed to see to enhance your economic growth. Now, they seem to be static because if you take the happenings now, it's like we've dipped in our economic activities, and it will definitely take some time before we come up from that dip. And like I said earlier, economy that forced itself into a huge debt and keep on expanding its debt. When it comes to recovery, it becomes tough because you might need external financing to recover. And if you position yourself in such a way that you exhaust the possibility of raising external financing, then nobody will project you to be a country that can be growing at a faster pace. So I'm not surprised to see that stagnated growth that has been allocated for Ghana or has been projected for Ghana.
Dr. Lobenso, I'm so grateful that he joined us. He's an economist and finance lecturer at the University of Ghana there. Away from that, demand for labor by businesses picked up strongly as at the end of February this year. That's 3,000 new jobs were created. According to the latest Bank of Ghana data, this is slightly higher than what was recorded pre-COVID pandemic levels. But is this a sign of economic rebound? George Rafi has the answers in this report.
That's at the end of February 2021, 3,000 jobs have been advertised in the dailies and online. Now, if you look at what was recorded in January 2020, the number can be described as encouraging. This is because since August last year, businesses wanting to fill some vacant positions at their firms have shot up strongly. However, we cannot independently establish whether these job requests are coming from the same firms that had to lay off some of their workers during the pandemic. Or maybe these are new enterprises that have sprung up and are looking for workers to fill some vacant positions. But some analysts may still want to draw the link between happenings on the economic front and these firms, arguing that if the economy was not picking up, these firms would definitely not be requesting for more hands. On the other hand, many would want to ask what has happened to the promise by some businesses that the first option will be given to those who were asked to go home during the pandemic when there are any recalls. While if the projections on the Bank of Ghana are anything to go by in terms of the economy picking up strongly in the coming months, then maybe we should be looking forward to more requests coming from these businesses that they need more hands.
Let's stay a little bit longer on this matter as we engage a labor consultant, Austin Game. Grateful that he joined us. First of all, this is certainly a sign that the economy is picking up from the COVID pandemic, is it not?
It's a gradual process. We all have to appreciate that it will not come as a boom or as a bang. It will be very gradual. And so we should appreciate the little ones that are coming. 3,000 for Ghana is very small. But the other side of the story is that advertisement, either online or through graphic, etc., does not necessarily translate into having people fully employed. So if our statistics through the Chief Labor Officer's office were to be very active, would have gotten the true picture properly painted. That notwithstanding, it's a good sign.
Well, but you know, it's very interesting because if you're looking at the dynamics with that of the United States, they also recorded close to 3 million new jobs as at the end of the first and even that of the second quarter. But of course, we're hearing that from the United States angle, the face of jobs could not be the same again. People were having difficulty in finding jobs in the US before COVID, after COVID-19, looking at the demand COVID has given job owners. How do you paint the picture of Ghana? Is it just about jobs, or that COVID-19 has detailed a new spring up of jobs and the demand for employers?
Two ways. One, if you take the case of America, the picture is simply because of the injection of capital into the system. Even the individuals have been given some stimulation. Yeah. The other part of it, which must be clearly understood, is that in America, 1 hour working means a lot to them. Ghana, 1 hour working may not mean a lot to people, even though that is the definition by the ILO. But having said so, the function of the economy will determine the way we go. This is Africa, and Ghana is no exception. America has a special connection with how they see their economy in the world. So having said so, the picture we are painting here should be understood that, like I said from the beginning, it will be very, very gradual, and people must accept that picture the way it's been painted, and political office holders must equally accept to be very clear in communicating that we churn out, because the picture may not be exactly the way we are painting it. And when people began to interrogate it and question it, people should not feel bad about it. But I think that the space should be created for us to accept that it will be a gradual growth into both the formal sector and the informal sector.
Interesting. But of course, even as we're discussing jobs, over the past few weeks, we've heard from government, through its austere 2021 budget, that there's not going to be any form of, salary increment. Even that of the minimum wage will remain as it is. No review could be done this year and the years ahead, the next 3 years actually. How could this impact the face of labor in the short to medium term?
Definitely, to a large extent, it will impact, because this stimulation helps people to enhance productivity. And albeit the little we have, we should have been having new ways of ensuring that productivity is elevated than the way it is now. But having said so, it is for employers to ensure that they find ways and means to respond. As for regarding that of a government challenge, the National Tripartite Committee is the appropriate place to go to have this conversation, so that we can have a free flow of work without damaging anything. When I say damaging, meaning there will be no work stoppage because of some labor agitation. If they can go to the Tripartite Committee and come under Section 113 of the Labor Act and engage organized labor in a good conversation, they will all be on the same page and sing from the same hymn book, and nobody will be against each other. But throwing it to the sky, that, look, we are not going to increase pay. That is not an industrial relations practice.
Mr. Game, we're so grateful that he joined us. He's a labor consultant, having the interaction with us regarding some 3,000 demand for labor amid COVID-19. Away from that, data available to Joy Business indicates that consumption of liquefied petroleum gas has fallen from 35,000 metric tons from November last year to 26,000 metric tons. That's 4,000 metric tons short. Now, the commodity has also witnessed about 20% increase in the price since November last year. This, the LPG Marketers Association believes, will erode government's target of achieving an LPG penetration rate of 50% in the next 5 years. Let's roll out for you some infographics there on how LPG price hikes reduced consumption rates since November 2020. You can see on your screens there that even in November 2020, 35 metric tons was consumed within the price range of 5 cedis, 28 pesos, and that of 5 cedis, 47 pesos. But as the prices increased, we could see February 2021, it has plummeted to 26,000 metric tons, from 35,000 in 2020 November to 26,000 metric tons in February 2021. Much more of a concern to the LPG Marketers Association, of which the Vice Chairman, Gabriel Kumi, joins us via Zoom. Gabriel, we're so grateful that he joined us. We had an interaction with you somewhere last week regarding your concerns, but what could be accounting for the decline in consumption?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your viewers. I mean, the data speaks for itself. I mean, obviously, LPG is a product with an elastic demand. So once you keep prices high, you expect consumption to go low. And this is what has happened. I mean, since October when the prices start getting steep, we have witnessed a consistent and persistent decrease in consumption.
What does this mean to your business? What does it mean to operations?
Well, it means that I mean, it's obvious that the LPG industry is coming to the whole industry is declining, and this will lead to job losses and worsening the unemployment situation in Ghana, because once you are not able to sell as much as you used to, your cost of operation remains the same, and what that means is that you may have to downsize your labor force to be able to stay in business.
Well, you know, last week we engaged you as all this is happening in the wake of some taxation that has been imposed on your industry. And of course, you're pushing so hard to get government reconsider this particular move. How far with discussions on the need to scrap this particular tax that you term as nuisance tax?
Well, we are sending a petition to the Finance Ministry, to the Energy Ministry, to all the institutions and individuals that matters in this decision to reconsider this tax, because we believe it will not be in the interest of the country. Globally, LPG consumption is on the rise, but in Ghana, for the past 3-4 years, we are stagnating. We stagnated between 26 metric tons and 29 metric tons, and it's getting worse as prices keep going up. And if we don't take care and we allow this 18 pesos to be slapped on the product, we are afraid the LPG industry will gradually get to its knees. And basically, consumers will be at the receiving end, because the incidence of this tax is directly on the consumer. And already, LPG is being bought in talks. Consumers are not able to fill their cylinders. If you look at the average 14.5 kg cylinder, it's now costing about 92 to 95 Ghana cedis, between 92 to 95 Ghana cedis. And with the introduction of these additional 18 pesos, we are heading towards 100 cedis for the average 14.5 kg. And we believe that is too high and too harsh for the ordinary Ghanaian to bear. We understand that COVID-19 has brought a lot of hardship to Ghanaians. Government needs money. But we've always maintained that the benefit this country stands to gain by pushing up consumption of LPG will far more outweigh the benefit we are gaining from these taxes. It's not for any reason that His Excellency the President and his cabinet has singled out that product called LPG and has set a target for it.
Sure.
His Excellency the President wants us to double consumption of LPG by the year 2030.
Well, but Gabriel, of course, I'd want to go back on one of your words. You stated that this could impact jobs. What it means is that you could lay off some staff. We do know that the staff strength of the LPG industry so much, looking at the value chain of workers from the distribution to even the dissemination. Help us understand the gravity of job losses that you're talking about.
Currently, the LPG sector employs about 7,000 direct labor. But if we are employing 7,000 and we are consuming or selling about 29,000 metric tons, we cannot keep that same labor force when consumption is now 26, and it's the only indication is that the consumption is going to go further down. So obviously, I cannot give you as in numbers as to any labor force will be laid off, but it's something that is imminent. If consumption doesn't, if we don't take measures to reduce the price of the product to stem the tide.
All right. Gabriel, we're so grateful that you joined us, the Vice Chairman of the LPG Marketing Companies Association, on some taxation imposed on their products. They're calling government to intervene. Well, you're still watching The Marketplace. Let's move on to other stories. Guinness Ghana Breweries is championing an agenda called the progressive portrayal of women in the media, advertising and entertainment industry to make the industry more representative, progressive and equal. Prominent leaders and industry experts in the media, advertising and entertainment industry were brought together to reflect and spark conversation that will avoid negative stereotypes and seek to depict positive and progressive portrayal of women. Let's first listen to Suzanne Buta, the legal director of Guinness Ghana Breweries.
Diversity and inclusion is an incredibly important part of what Guinness Ghana believes in. As I said, it's part of our annual must-dos, and it cuts across the entire business, across our hiring, across our procurement, the policies that we have. One thing that we've recognized is because we're a significant investor in advertising, we had an opportunity to really try and impact in a positive way societal norms. This is a spark for the conversation. We've already started our campaigns where in our marketing code, so it's basically like our 10 commandments of how we want our brands to be portrayed. Positive portrayal of women is embedded in that, and all our agencies sign up to that, and therefore all the output you see as far as Guinness Ghana brands marketing will be upheld to that standard, and we hope others take the opportunity to follow suit.
Ekia Owusunati, Regional Managing Director of Ogilvy Ghana, an advertising firm, urged content creators to be sensitive and be aware of unconscious biases.
I think that it was an honest conversation. It was nice to hear different perspectives about how women are portrayed in our media today. I think that it's a very brave initiative for Guinness to actually start this conversation and try to shift the narrative, and it's something that is important that other corporates also come on board on, just as we begin to kind of shift the narrative on how women are portrayed within our cultural context. As content creators, we need to be a bit more sensitive, and we need to be more aware about our unconscious bias as we portray women in the media. And the things that we put forward now should be more representative of the reality and the changing roles that are occurring in society today.
Actress Lydia Forson also encouraged all and sundry to empower women, especially the media. According to her, the media plays a critical role in portraying women in a good light.
A lot of it has to do with the media. I'm not going to shy away from that, because I come to these events and you all ask me questions and you're interested in content, but the decision making comes from you. You can decide that when I'm editing this is the point that I need to be put across. So I'll edit in such a way that this is what people hear. I'll caption it in such a way that this is what people hear. But if you don't care, I can say all that I want to say here, and you edit it in a way that it will portray me in a bad light. So I am going to do my part, but it falls on you, from the cameraman, to yes, you too, because you go to an event and someone intentionally starts from your feet trying to zoom into your breast and all of these things. So it is not on me. I'm doing my part. The question is, are you doing your part?
The progressive portrayal of women indeed. Well, away from that, players in the agriculture sector here in Ghana are making a push to participate in the continental free trade area. Now, they are therefore asking government to support by making the sector a priority in order to make them competitive. Earlier on, I spoke with the research director of the Chamber of Agriculture Ghana, Dr. Lawet Tete. He spoke to Joy Business, of course, who says the industry has not been fully tapped, including value addition.
At the moment, all I know is we have a few businesses that smoke and also dry some of our fishes here, the tilapia and the catfish, for export. But that is all I know for now. But we can do other things, as I said, canning, and exporting that. So
it appears there's a lot to be explored in that space as well. I want to ask you about government policy for the aquaculture sector. I'm reading a document where it says that government has placed aquaculture as one of the top priorities in the country's development agenda. Do you feel that support? Do you feel that agenda being set?
At the moment, I wouldn't say we are seeing that. We have to be honest. We know government is trying, but as we always say in Ghana, there's still more room for improvement. Our sector hasn't really received the needed attention, not just from the current administration, but even previous administrations. It's been many years since we've been asking previous governments and even the current government to give us some exemptions, and we are yet to receive them. So it's not just about maybe one administration or the other, but as a whole, we haven't received much support, and we believe it's an area that can bring the country a lot of foreign exchange.
And that's how we end this edition of The Marketplace. My name is Charles Aite. For more news, you log on to myjoyonline.com. Also, where you could get all the latest business stories in Ghana and around the world. Also, you could follow me on Twitter at Chak Aite on Twitter for more interactions on everything business related. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of our programs.